Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to the NS9 Emergency Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony DiNardo. With me, we have Tyler. Tyler, we are back in between Starbucks and a post-game show to talk to you about something that Derek Shelton just casually dropped today. Or not.
Yeah, as I'm fighting with some
Here we
internet
go.
issues here. There we go. Fighting with the internet here. Yeah, this one couldn't wait till Thursday.
No,
We could not wait for the North Shore 9 Live to do this one.
I thought about it, and it was like
lots of words will be said.
Right. Well, Starbucks is earlier, and it's like, man, the timing of this. Of course, it happens afterwards, and you're not going to talk about this on the post-game show, and then we don't have the next show until this Thursday. Yeah, we got to do an emergency show. Even though this isn't like emergency worthy per se, it kind of is, because there's a lot that we want to digest and discuss here. So I guess let's just start here. What was your first initial reaction to seeing this?
I don't think I can repeat it on the air.
Okay.
There were a couple F-bombs that got dropped in our group text.
Yeah.
A lot of shock, I guess. I don't know if you agree. I think we were all looking to see if it was like an actual account. Like when Noah Hiles tweeted it, everyone's checking to make sure it's a real account.
So I'll put it this way. I may or may not have sent a text saying, were you hacked? Because you're 100% correct. Like, this came out of nowhere. I think shock's the best way to put it, because initially I don't think your mind's not going like, what are they doing, or great move, or whatever. I think the initial one was like, wait, what? This happened? Like, again, like it's the end of the year. We're heading into September here, and then just casually dropping that Oneil Cruz is now a center fielder
in the middle,
out of nowhere,
in the middle of his best stretch offensively of his career.
Yeah,
dude, I don't think this organization has a clue what they're doing. It took me 3 minutes and 1 second to get there. I don't think they know what they're doing. I'm sorry.
Well, I guess now that we got our initial reactions out of the way, I'm still digesting this, if this makes sense. Like, this is a very impactful move that has many legs to it. And do you want to start? Do you want me to start here?
You can go ahead. I need to gather some thoughts here.
That works. You know how my brain also works, right? I have my thoughts, but I'm also like, I want to know the why. Like, why did they make the decision? Let me try to rationalize their point of view on this and such. I mean, obviously we know Oneil Cruz at short has been very polarizing. Most of us here have been on board with let Oneil Cruz play out at shortstop. He's good enough. He's passable. It's not average. It's below average, but he makes really good plays that don't show up like in the stat sheets. There's plays that show up in the stat sheets are usually pretty bad, and they're noticeable, right? And that's why you can absolutely understand why people want to move off. But I think ultimately the big thing too is who's knocking down the door for Oneil Cruz. And 8 days ago, Ben Cherington more or less said, Oneil Cruz is a shortstop. We're gonna do best for him. We're gonna do best for the organization. And we had this discussion too. And I did say, if you want to say IKF, Isiah Kiner-Falefa, as an argument, that's an argument that could be had. That's a fair argument. Outside of that, there's nothing. So IKF's going to play shortstop the rest of the year. That's the fair argument. And I also said too, many times, that if Oneil Cruz is going to get moved off a shortstop, which I don't think now is the timing for it, but if he's going to get moved off a shortstop, I don't want right field. I want center field. To me, that I hope he can play it. And if he can, center field's the move. So, like, I also appreciate that he's going to center and not right. So he is athletic, super fast, super strong arm. Like, I think he could be potentially a really good center fielder. I'm just kind of puzzled on the when, which is now. And I guess we talk about the legs. There's still many more of these that we're gonna that's flowing, but the legs of this is IKF is the starting shortstop for now, which is fine. But does this make him the starting shortstop for next year? Like, is that their mindset that hey, we have this hole at center, so let's fill it with Oneil Cruz, which we're not sure if he's good yet, and maybe this is their test to find out. But then it's like we have IKF, we'll put him at short, and I don't like IKF as the everyday short. Like I feel like they're plugging a hole with what they think might fix it to create another one.
So I guess I'll start with what you said when Sherrington came out 8 days ago and said that what's best for Oneil Cruz is to play short right now. And then 8 days later, you change your mind, apparently. And I guess the frustrating part to me is that it's another example of the dysfunction this organization has. Because 8 days ago, your GM is telling everyone that Oneil Cruz's best spot right now is shortstop. 8 days later, your manager pulled the plug on it, not doing it anymore. Earlier this year, your owner is coming out saying there's a lot more money to spend. Your GM sending his minions out to go tell the media there is no money to spend. There is a disconnect in this organization, and it is wildly dysfunctional right now. Removing just the move in general and just looking at the way they've gone about many things this year, this is what I mean when I'm saying I don't know if they know what they're talking about or what they're doing. The communication from top to bottom is very poor. The decision-making just is very puzzling. And really, it comes back to, why are you doing it on August 26th? Why? You're throwing something else on his plate in the middle of his best offensive stretch. You have the offseason. If you want to move him, you can move him. I actually wouldn't really argue it in the offseason if you're able to go ahead and upgrade the shortstop position. I'm with you on IKF. I don't want him there every day. I actually think it's probably his worst infield position outside of first base. He's far better at third and far better at second, I think. And I don't think the arm really plays at shortstop every day. There's plays in the hole that I don't think he's going to make that Oneil Cruz did make. I just don't understand the timing, and I don't understand the communication or the decision-making aspect of it. I don't know what they're doing, and I don't know if they do either.
Communication, hands down. I mean, it seems as if they told him last night after the game, you're a center fielder now. And like, there's no lead up. There was no, we have some thoughts. Let's work you out there before the game. I mean, how many times you see guys playing off position, right? Before games, pregame warmups, taking grounders at third base, second base, what have you. None of that to even lead up to this. Just a hard, after yesterday's game, you know what, Oneil Cruz, we're making you a shortstop. I'm sorry, we're making you a center fielder. Good day. See you tomorrow. Buy a new glove. That's just kind of weird, right? The whole communication aspect. And again, 8 days ago, you're saying he's a shortstop, we're good. And now what has changed? What I can say to you about why now? Well, why wait on the decision? Like there's that part. If you are convinced shortstop isn't the move, we're going to try out center field. Why not now? You have a month left. Get his legs wet. Get him get a feel. Then he has a whole offseason to work on it. He's had some in-game action. Like there's your argument for that. I can understand the why in that sense. But to me, it's was there a plan? Is there a plan? The communication, that tells me no. This is very, very sudden, just a hard, you know what? Let's do this. And we're very decisive on it. There also wasn't like, hey, let's try this. It was, you know what? You're a center fielder now going forward. We have no idea if you can play it, but you are a center fielder. There's no trial and error. Let's go back something too. I want to go back. You talk about communication. You talk about messing with something. Your argument to this can be he's been on the best stretch offensively. He's still developing. Why mess with that? Let him finish out the year comfortably at shortstop to focus on the offense, which, again, that's his money maker. His money maker isn't that he can play shortstop, that he can play center field. The money is he can hit 40 bombs potentially, be a 280 hitter, steal 20, 30 bases. That's his moneymaker. But as we're winding back, wasn't there a moment in time where they weren't so sure if he's a shortstop also? Did they tell him over an offseason to consider that? Did they tell him over the offseason, let's work on outfield? Or did they wait till the middle of spring training to say, you know what, we're going to work on shortstop now? And that didn't go too well. Did I say shortstop again? We're going to work on outfield.
It was left field.
But that didn't go too well. And I understand like he was taken back on it. And was he really focused on doing it? Maybe not, but whatever. Like you once again just made like a decision on the fly of let's do this, opposed to a rational, thought out decision of, we have an entire offseason work on outfield. Let's try this. So it's once again just like, hey, Oneil, we've made up our decision without involving you, without trying it. Come tomorrow, you're a whole new position now.
I don't get it, man. Like, I want to know who made this decision, I think. Because just as an outsider here with no inside information, with what Sherrington said last week, and Shelton being the one to announce this and it being so sudden, to me, it feels like it's at least Derek Shelton pushing for it. And I'm sure Sherrington had a say in it as well. But this is all hypothetical in my brain right now because everything's still processing. But if Shelton did make the decision, that's a franchise-altering decision made by a lame duck manager. A guy that should not be here next year.
Is it? Maybe the writing's on the wall there. Maybe this was a Shelton decision. This is also telling you that Shelton's here.
Well, that's even
Again,
worse.
There's many legs to this. If this is a Shelton decision and Sherrington saying, let's do it, maybe that's also telling you that he will be here next year.
And again, I don't want either of those two guys making any decisions about this franchise going forward.
They don't care what you want.
I know. I know they don't care. But I care. We just go back to the positional part of this. Brian Hayes is out for the year. Wouldn't your team be a little bit better if Brian Hayes, he's out for the year, dude? He's not coming back.
Okay.
He's out for at least an extended period of time here.
Not confirmed, but
yes. He's done. In my brain, he's done. Wouldn't IKF at third, Cruz at short, and then Gonzales at second just fit a lot better?
Sure. But I guess, again, the argument I'll make is if you're already making the decision that he's a center fielder and you don't want him, like this is the way you want to move for 2025. The argument is why wait? This year doesn't matter. I don't really care if for this year that makes more sense. Who cares? You're out of it. Who cares? Get a head start on 2025. I'm just saying like that there's the argument.
I don't like it.
That's fine.
They don't care.
It's weird for me. This whole thing is weird for me because I don't hate the fact that Oneil Cruz is going to center field. I don't hate the fact that they're going to put him out there because, again, that guy is a gifted athlete. I think he can excel there. There's plenty of instances as well where shortstops, I mean, like, again, everyone wants to go to Fernando Tatis Jr., and that's a good example also. Super athletic, not as big and built like Oneil, but, very similar. But, I mean, he led defensive run save all of last year in baseball. Like, he went to being the best defender in baseball in that sense. That's what I'm alluding to here in the sense that I don't hate the move of Oneil being center. And, again, also center field I appreciate more than a corner. It's the same argument. Why do you have Oneil Cruz at short, even though it's below average defense? To have that type of a beast there at short, that's valuable. Still up the middle. To have that type of a beast in center, still the same argument. You know what I mean? So it's like I don't hate the move per se. I just don't like that it seems as if putting IKF as the starting shortstop. which it's, that's the anti-Cruz. It's not sexy at all. That's the guy you pick up for a couple $1 million in free agency that can play, because the offense isn't all there. He's having a career year this year. It's not like he's superb defensively. So going back, when he played it full time, defensive run save 2021, 10. 2022, 10. Outs above average in 21, -6. Outs above average in 22, -3. He's fine there. He's fine. But offensively, he doesn't provide anything. His best suit, when you made that trade because you like him as that super utility guy. You didn't like that trade because that's your future everyday starting shortstop.
What were those outs above average again?
-6 and -3.
What's Oneil Cruz at outs above average at shortstop right now?
I should have pulled that up.
-3.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I'm glad you had it. I'm like, you know, we've talked enough about Cruz's defense. I'm not going to pull those up.
Yeah. So there you go. Like, isn't you could probably argue it's a little bit of an upgrade defensively with IKF there.
I think so.
I don't think it's substantial.
Right.
Like, I don't think the difference there is big enough for IKF to be the guy to push Oneil Cruz off the position. If there's someone else coming up playing shortstop, I get it. I'm not moving Oneil Cruz or IKF.
Right. So let's think long-term here as well. Big picture. IKF you're putting there now. Well, he is controllable next year. That's also it. What happens in 2026 and beyond? And that's why I want to say here, you know, Pitt City, you say, you know, you have York coming up. This is where I differ. This organization is loaded with middle infielders, in which 0 of them are a shortstop. Nick Gonzales is coming back up. He's here now. What's Tamar? Second baseman. What's York? Second baseman. Cook, he go all over, you know, but second baseman first, outfield. Where's the shortstops? There still isn't one. So even though this move makes sense because you have IKF, it's also very short-sighted in that sense. It's not, you know what, we can use IKF to bridge that gap until player X comes and takes over for short, which also still a prospect you're talking about regardless. No one's proven. So this still leaves a hole.
Yeah, and potentially too. Because there's no guarantee that Oneil Cruz can play center field.
Right.
Like, we saw him in left field. We saw him practicing in the outfield. It was ugly. I think he'll get better, but he's got to buy into it. Honestly, I don't know if he will. He seemed very hesitant to do it before. And look, he's got to buy into it. Plain and simple, you're a professional athlete. They move you. You got to get over it and do it. So I'm not going to defend him in that aspect. I'm just saying, like, these still are human beings that you're going to have to deal with a lot. Like, you just told him basically last night, that position you've played your whole life, yeah, we're not doing that anymore. Even though we said you're our shortstop 8 days ago. Nope, not anymore. You're going to DH while you learn center field. Like, and maybe there was conversations before. We're not there. It doesn't feel like it based upon prior knowledge of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah. Now, maybe because before when they talked about it, it wasn't a done deal. It was a let's try outfield and see how it goes. And you know what? If I have my pride, I want to be a shortstop. I might not try as hard to be that outfielder, because if I show that I'm not that good, maybe I'll just stay at shortstop. Right? Like, get into the mindset of that. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but I'm just saying I could see that. Now being told this is done, you are a shortstop, there's no turning back. See, I can't even say he's an outfielder. This is the problem. I can't even say that he's an outfielder. So telling him that he's an outfielder and there is no turning back the shortstop, it's almost like you're forced now to buy him, because if it doesn't work out, well, now you just suck. And that's a bad look on you. So like maybe this allows him to buy in it, and maybe he can put forth the effort to ensuring that he's good. Because again, if I have pride, I don't want to be a terrible outfielder. So I'm going to take pride in that and become a good one, because that's what I'm doing here. So that's, again, like, that's where I'm at. I have confidence that he can become a good outfielder. Again, that's why you draft these athletic middle infielders, because if they don't work out, they become your center fielders. They become your second basemen. They become your, left fielders or whatever, right? Oneil Cruz, uber athletic. There's not many people in him in any sport, let alone baseball. I am confident that he can become a good center fielder. I think that is in him. I think that could be done. But where are you finding a good shortstop? Why was he so valuable at shortstop? Because players like him cost $200 million.
He's a 3-win player this year because he's playing shortstop. Because of the value that he brings at shortstop. If he's in center field, I don't know if he's a 3-win player. It doesn't matter, because they're still a terrible baseball team, and who cares about your WAR when you're 8 games below 500? But that's why we wanted him to play that position until either someone pushed him off or he showed he can no longer do it. I don't think he showed he can no longer do it at this point. He would have at some point, and it could have been as early as next year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I just don't agree with doing it right this second.
Is there anything about Oneil Cruz that will ever not be polarizing?
No.
Ever? Can we just have one normal conversation about him where, like, everyone's in agreement of, yeah, this makes sense, or good job, Oneil? I feel like anything and everything that surrounds this guy is just controversial. Man. And here we are.
I mean,
So
he's a unicorn.
Yeah. I guess that's the best way of putting his unicorn through and through. They're unique, and people either like or hate uniqueness.
I'm curious to see what Ben Sherrington has to say about this.
This, again, my stance again is I don't hate him becoming a center fielder. I think he can excel there, and I think he become a new type of beast in center. With that speed, with that arm, to really show off that arm now also in center field. Again, like we talk about with Starling Marte, how beautiful it was to watch him play outfield, especially with that arm. That arm of Oneil Cruz can absolutely be a weapon in the outfield also. So can that speed, if it translates. And to have 30-30 in center field potentially, that's sexy. Just like it is at shortstop. Like the arguments there still remain in that sense. But I am curious of what's the roster construction truly going to look like going forward. I don't want it to be IKF at short. That doesn't move the needle. And we're hoping Nick Gonzales turns into something at least average, because it hasn't been pretty. And he's a well below hitting major leaguer at this point in time. To this point. Yes, he was very hot to begin with. At this point in time, he's well below league average. Brian Hayes is well below league average. IKF normally is below league average. And there hasn't been a solution to first base in 3 decades. So this infield is trash offensively. You're hoping Joey Bart, the catcher position, is something. Henry Davis is coming back up. But like offensively, this infield for next year just looks bad.
Yeah. I guess, does making this move make the Pirates a better baseball team? I don't think it does.
No.
I think you
Like,
might be able to.
best, it remains the same.
So again, why do it? Why right now?
That's where I'm at. Hot take. Does this? I don't think it does. But I think if we were running it, does this put Cabrine at short, IKF at utility, and you find a third baseman? That's the way I approach this.
That was
FYI.
honestly my first thought. But I reeled it back in when the back issue makes me a little concerned about Hayes playing there. But yeah, that was one of the first thoughts I had. Like, well, you could move Hayes to short next year.
We've talked about it. But
And
what
then
do you
I
do
can-
with Cruz?
And then I can live with his bat being maybe it's got to be better than it is now, but I can live with it more if he's an above average shortstop.
Yeah. That's where I'm at. Again, I don't believe that they will do that. But if they decide going to next year, this is the way, IKF remains the super utility guy, which that's where he has his value at.
Yeah.
You put Hayes at short, which again, like that defense is going to translate. He will probably be the best shortstop defensively in the league, if not very close. And go find yourself a real bat at third and first. Now that infield doesn't look so terrible. But again, you have to have confidence that they'll find that. But that's what we're talking about. Once again, it's just like the snowball effect, what this does.
I think that's the other thing we kind of overlooked here is you're really hurting IKF's value as well.
Right.
Like I said earlier, it's probably his worst infield position outside of first base that he don't really play. But third and second, he's a really good defender. Shortstop, you turn him into, okay, he's fine. And if the bat's not playing like it is this year, fine's not good enough.
And nothing like putting your guy who's heading into free agency the year after in the worst position
Right.
to have value.
Right.
But you are correct. Like defensively, you would rather see him at second or third. You're putting him where he's, but again, like it's passable. It's fine. It's an upgrade from Oneil Cruz. I will give him that. But it's his worst position. His value comes at being that super utility guy, being the J. Hay guy. That's gone. That's lost. I'm in a big wait and see. That's just where I'm at. I don't hate the move. Now I have to wait and see how they are going to respond. How are they going to build around Oneil Cruz being the center fielder to put this team that's ready to compete in 2025 with Oneil Cruz now being a center fielder for the very first time in his life.
And unfortunately, at this point, it comes down to, is Oneil Cruz going to buy in? If he doesn't buy in, it's not going to work. If he buys in, it probably will work. It might take a little while. But you've mentioned it. He has the athleticism to play out there. If he's 1 foot in, 1 foot out, it's not going to work. And the Pirates can just blame Oneil Cruz and say he didn't try.
Let me give a statement to two entities right here. Oneil Cruz, you have to buy in. You absolutely have to. Okay, this is the maturation we're talking about. This is you growing up, developing. This is part of it. We've been backers of you for a long time. You have the talent. Is this a raw deal? Maybe, but it is the deal. You got to buy into it. That's the team player. That's what's best for the team at this point in time. Buy in, be the best center fielder there is. The other message for another entity, Derek Shelton, Ben Cherington, the whole entire front office. Like, what made Clint Hurdle special? What made 2013 special that Pirates won? There was a message to all them players that was foreign. What's this shifts? What are these analytics? And Clint Hurdle, damn it, was able to send that message, have the players buy in, and do it. This is why we don't appreciate you, Derek Shelton. This is your opportunity to prove and say there was a real drastic change. This player, who's a super freak, had to buy in, and I was able to send him that message, relay it, get him to buy into the system and move forward. If he's not going to be a lame duck, as we're saying, if it was his choice, well, this is your team for next year. Go in and do it. But also, you got to relay that message, and you need to make sure he buys in. This is his opportunity to show that he can be that guy.
It is. I mean, it is a big opportunity for Derek Shelton. And it's a raw deal for Oneil Cruz, I think. But that's being an adult man. It's being a professional athlete. You got to deal with it and make the best of it. You don't have to agree with it, but you got to buy into it.
Agree.
Now let's watch it happen. Might be an ugly month, man.
Hey, you know it's kind of funny too. They took 3 out of 4 from Cincinnati, and they were just like, "Well, the tank job's not going so well. What can we do? I know. Let's just put Oneil Cruz in center field. we got to make sure we don't win too many more because the odds in that draft pick starting to dwindle away with these 3 out of 4 win series." Partially joking there, but anyways, it is kind of funny and ironic. Yeah. Again, there's not much to play for. It's going to be a wild experiment, but you have a month left. Why not give him his taste in center field in meaningful games and having a whole offseason to perfect his craft come the next year of spring training, being a center fielder, since that is your intention. I'm okay with the move now. With that being said, doesn't mean I'm okay with the move, but the move's done, and I'm okay with it being now instead of the offseason.
Oh, I'm not. I think it's stupid to do it now, but what am I going to do about it? We are probably going to see Oneil Cruz DH for a couple weeks. They're not throwing him
I'm
out
also
there
curious.
for
I mean, the whole
a
Michael
while.
A. Taylor thing too.
Yeah.
He was put on outright waivers. We don't know if he's going to get claimed yet. We'll find out tomorrow. If he does, there's a clear opening in center field. And if he doesn't, I'm curious of like how long they're going to hold on to him if they are. Because now we see if they're putting him at, Cruz at center, well, they don't really need Michael A. Taylor unless they want him on the team just to have that backup, an actual glove for whatever reason. But
you might need that defensive replacement.
Yeah, but they also might not care.
Yeah, probably not. Let's just get weird with it. Henry Davis, center field.
Why? No, Oneil in center, Henry Davis in right.
Brian Reynolds in left.
Yes.
That's a great outfield.
Fantastic. Can't wait for all the injuries.
Let's just put Rowdy in left.
Yep. All right.
Yep.
Anything else that you want to say?
No, I mean, at this point, you just got to see what happens.
Right. All right. Well, then, let's get out of here. We'll be back for the post-game show. The game starts in 35 minutes. So, 2 people, not myself. Are you on tonight?
No.
Neither of us will be on.
Neil and Doug, I think.
Oh. Paul, this post-game's not for you.
Yeah.
Paul, we'll see you tomorrow. Let's get out of here. Love you guys. We'll be back later. Bye-bye.
Peace out, Girl Scouts.
Hey, you all. Thank you for watching. I know we try to provide the most entertaining content that we can, and we'd love to spread it to as many people as possible. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you could take the 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to the page, it helps out so much more than you know. Thank you, and let's go Bucks.